the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, our Synod Reparations Task Force is presenting this Emancipendence series, From Lament to Reconciling Action. It is my pleasure to spend some time with you looking at Jamaica at 60. Still, we dare to hope. My presentation will be undergirded by some excerpts from writings of mine. I have waited 60 years for this opportunity to speak on the matter of hope, especially as it is linked to the community of Grand Spen. I still think that children know more and remember more than they are credited for. Children can also be deeply and negatively affected by circumstances around them, this on a long-term basis. I have been careful over the decades of my life to have kept a keen eye on the community called Grand Spen. I have listened to activities concerning that community. And on this occasion, I'm adding my voice. In Grand Spen, I shall make a strong appeal that regardless of the rough and tumble of life, we should always hold on to hope. I have long rejected the expression which says, while there is life, there is hope. From a child, my father taught me that it is while there is hope that there is life. When hope seems to be gone, it is still always possible to grab onto what is left and to redirect it so that you yourself do not lose heart. So this poem now is called Coins from the Hills. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. Those words are known to us from Proverbs 31 and 16. Specifically today, they refer to a woman who lived to the age of 94, and she died in 2011. And here is what is written about her by myself. We all knew the drill. Late every Saturday evening, like a merchant ship from afar off, she would sail in. She, laden with orders from the people in the hills. She with the timber of laughter, reminiscent of a drink being poured over ice. The gentle crackle holding a promise of great pleasure, delight, and satisfaction. We waited every Saturday evening to see what charms she had found. Always a talent she had to mix the solid necessities with whimsical and irresistible toys. Toys and trinkets to amuse and titivate. The pretty things with their magnetic pull, things to charm the coins of her needs. She and our parents and other friends would eat and laugh and talk even later into the evening. They talked of life and of old times. But what a saleswoman! The district people of Mannings Hill and Jacks Hill and Pier Hill and Topridge and Mount Salus became her friends. Her friends became her people who supplied the coin of her life. The coin became the line leading her to her land and to her house. The invisible land and house that only she could see. The land and house coaxed and counted out of a handful of coins. Sunday after Sunday, week after week, month after month, year after year. until one Saturday evening she sailed in with a new light in her eyes flashing the light of peony wallies, and a grin like that of a Cheshire cat, and a voice with a clarion call. I pay down on it. Milan in Padmore, St. Andrew. Is only now I'm going to work and sell till I done pay for it. Milan, my precious house spot. What a jubilation and a celebration that evening. She and I knew the drill. Every Sunday, she would go off to sell. Every Sunday, some of us would go off to church. Any church for her would have to be night church. Every Sunday during the school term, after dinner, she and I would walk in the afternoon sun. We would walk for 2.5 hot miles, 2.5 serpentine miles on a country road to Stony Hill to catch the bus back to the city, parting ways at Shortwood Road as she made her way back to Gibraltar Lane, back to more work before returning to Manningsville on Saturday again, to sell again, to collect more coins again, to count up the coins again, to secure them in her thread bag again, to hide the bag in her bosom again, to hide her money from prying eyes again, to go back to town again, to buy more stocks again, to carry the box on her head again, to climb the steep hills again, to truss out the goods again, to collect some more coins again, to make up her mortgage money again, the journey back to Gibraltar Lane again. And so she went on. She went on seeing the invisible, the day when she would pay it off, not the day when she would pay it off, the day when she did pay it off, not the day when she might pay it off, but the day when she had paid it off. And so we traveled together, Sunday after Sunday, parting company at Shortwood Road, as I continued along to Eastwood Park Road, to Goddy Griffiths, to prepare for another week at Immaculate, again, before returning to Manningsville again, her voice ringing in my ears. Take in your book. You don't want to walk with no box on your head like me. One fateful Sunday afternoon, we were walking and talking as usual when a car slithered up behind us like an eerie and surreptitious Oxford-style prowler on the Serpentine Country Road. Cover your face, quick, she commanded. Through the space between my fingers, I could see the tourists languidly poised in the car. They were training the camera in our direction. We would not be willing, smiling subjects. Not today, not any day. Take in your book, my child, take in your book, so you can drive car too. Them not carrying a photograph to no foreign with no box on my head. Them they think this was the plan. You see why I tell you to take in your book? Sensing defeat, the car slithered away as smoothly and as stealthily as it had come, seeking more likely prey elsewhere. We marched on. Rejuvenated we were by a new surge of energy. This energy had arisen from the foiled assault upon our dignity. She sailed on step after every weary step, like a conquering queen with her head, our land and house in that box set up on her head. Hold on to your school bag, child. Don't burn up your father and your mother money. And so we traveled together, catching the slow Sunday afternoon bus, winding our way down Red Girl Ring, Long Lane, and Constant Spring, parting company at Shortwood. See you Sunday, God Pearl. If God willing, my child, if God willing. But remember, take in your book. Take in your book. Grasping at hope. Though hope sometimes seems out of the reach of many in the Grand Spen area, and many of the reports about the community broadcast the opposite of hope, I urge you, residents of Grand Spen and beyond, and in all of Jamaica, to grasp at hope. One way to grasp at hope is to use your voice to tell your story and the stories of those around you, those who cannot or will not or dare not tell their stories. There are flickers of hope in each life, however dim or fledgling. These flickers are to be shared. Many of the stories of people from Grand Spen have elements of strength, survival, pain, wisdom, dogged determination, suffering, creativity, humor, and hope. Some stories indicate that the individual child or adult should not readily hand over control of her life or his life to another, or indeed to systems. Such stories, such as Goddie Pearl's story, give indications of how the narrators navigated the straits of their lives with or without help from public figures or bodies. But on this occasion again, I call to the authority and to those in political office to continue to support the hope of people by working assiduously and successfully to improve their material condition. Many of the publicly unremarked but privately shared life stories in the community offer great guidance, illumination, and insight to those wishing to work towards their goals. Although one person's story may not be a blueprint, or indeed cannot be a blueprint for a person's life, useful tips can be gleaned. This Goddie Pearl, this lady, this Mrs. Johnson, she was a mother, a godmother, a grandmother to many, well beyond the confines of her personal home and family. She was very interested in the well-being of others and was always willing to offer prayers and to share life lessons, practical assistance, compliments, and even from her frugal possessions. Looking at the life of this lady can be compared to going into her gardens. Katie Geneva Cannon reminds us in 1978. And when we go into our mother's gardens, it is not really to learn who trampled on them or even why. We usually know that already. Rather, it is to learn what our mothers planted there, what they thought as they sowed, and how they survived the blighting of so many fruits. In Goddie Pearl's gardens, there is evidence that she sowed much. Much that she sowed was also trampled, but she stubbornly survived the blighting of many fruits. By the same token, there is much wealth within the knowledge and experience of many other persons in the area. But that wealth in some cases continues to lie dormant. As there are lessons to be learned, both from the living and the departed, it would be an ongoing tragedy if persons in Gibraltar Lane did not begin to tap more deeply into their own invaluable wells. Needless to say, the community would persist in being the poorer for not drawing from the coffers of their own human banks, even as they properly look towards the programs which are provided by their duly elected representatives. I call upon the people of Grandspen and all people in Jamaica to be competent members of your own communities and culture. For as long as members of communities continue to stand by either as hapless or vexed onlookers, the implicit question as to whether we are competent members of our culture, as asked by Lind, will continue to be a pall on our lives. Goddie Pearl claimed her part as a competent Jamaican, as a competent member of her culture, as a competent member of her community in a most positive sense. When her husband died, she staunchly resisted any philosophy which may have affected the development of herself and her family. And she did not permit herself to be weighed down by things that were happening outside of her family and in the wider community. She elected instead consistently to seek to call others to see beyond the less than appealing visible circumstances. She saw the possibility of improvement. She was a possibility thinker, and I call upon us all to deepen our capacity as possibility thinkers. Regardless of her hope for everyone around her though, some residents may still see life in Grandspen and in other areas as a gray blur, undifferentiated from the present, the past, or the future. If you find yourself in such a blur, I call you out of it. I call you to hope. Jamaica is 60 years old. I call you to hope. I invite you to look again deeply to the joyful place that Jamaica is. I call you to look from whence we have come and to where we are headed. The journey into the interior of yourself is necessary, much like the touring of a garden, and it may well help you to recognize your own beauty and your own strength, and the strength and beauty of those around you, and the strength and beauty of your community. Because regardless of the problems that you might be facing, there is strength and beauty all around us. I call you to desist from seeing yourselves through a glass darkly. Look at the brightness. I am lifting with you the hem to look at a brighter Jamaica. And I want you to look at your own stories of hope. And even when you cannot see the stories of hope, I am here to tell you that a life without hope is not a life. And we are alive, so we have to call upon hope. There are so many different types of hope. I call upon you today to hold on to the Christian hope. Hold on to all the forms of hope which are good and uplifting. But I call upon you to hold on to the Christian hope, which teaches us that there is hope inside of us. There's a kingdom of God inside of us. There's an image of God inside of us. And God has made this beautiful and wonderful world for us to live. Christians, I call upon you to share a story of hope, a story of life-giving hope to those around you. I call you to strengthen your Christian witness so that those around you will see the beauty of Jesus and will understand that Jamaica, regardless of what we are seeing today, Jamaica is a Christian nation. That is who we are. We are a Christian nation, and we know of the existence and the goodness of God. I'm calling you to hold on to the hope that is within us. A quietly insistent point which has emerged from my reading and from my observation of the community over so many years, is that the people in Grand Spen believe in political processes and systems. They believe in the leaders. And leaders, you have to hold on to that and to believe it and to serve differently and to serve more powerfully. That the hope which is so airy-fairy and cannot be seen and experienced by some will become more evident. There have been improvements over time, but the improvements need to be more forcefully felt and experienced by people. So, Jamaica comes to independence with mixed feelings. There are many persons who, at the time, longed for independence. And there were others who thought it would have been a very bad thing. Not that independence is a bad thing, but that we were not in a position to handle it and to deal with it. And so it was that late into my adult life, I came across a book all the way in Switzerland, written by Sir Hugh Foote, who had been one of Jamaica's earlier governors and who had returned to Jamaica specifically to participate in the independence events. And I read a chapter from his book, and he was so distraught. And then I began looking at the Gleaner newspaper, and I came across the most amazing picture of a singular woman. I say singular because she was at a dance in Grand Spen, and a picture was taken of the dancers, but a single picture was taken of her, and it was published in the Gleaner. And I imagined how Sir Hugh and this lady could have spent part of that evening together, in the sense that he was very singular in his distress, and she was very singular in her ecstasy of what was about to happen to Jamaica. And so I wrote a conversational poem between the two, and it is my pleasure for you to listen to that poem. Good night, Governor. What a surprise to see you, sir. I never expect to see you tonight. I never expect to see you in Grand Spen tonight. I know you come around here sometimes, but tonight is a night for another place, a night for wine and music and celebrations, but at King's House or in the bright new hotel, not down here in Grand Spen. Ah, my dear, but I wanted to come. I wanted to see what's happening in Grand Spen. Everyone is so happy. No one is looking back to the thought of federation and to the time before federation, back to the life we knew and understood, back to the life we understood. How you mean, Governor? My dear, a life of known order, a life we understood. What is this independence? Why did people vote for it? Jamaica cannot manage without the other islands. The other islands cannot manage without Jamaica. What a selfish vote. Jamaica cast a selfish vote. Sir, you really think that Jamaica cast a selfish vote? It's not a selfish vote. We vote for the survival. Yes, Governor, and with prosperity as a nation. I know, my dear, I know the move from suffrage to independence has taken nearly 20 years. Yes, I know that in that time, some people have had hard times. Yes, Life can be a bit hard sometimes. What with the bad weather and the high prices of food and everything. Yes, life can be a bit hard sometimes. I see your expression. Speak, my dear, speak with me. You know that there is no barrier between us. I understand your language well. I know a lot about the customs here. Why? I even drink carrot juice. Sir Alexander introduced it to me. I understand life across Jamaica. I know that life is a bit hard sometimes for most people. A bit hard sometimes, Governor. Sure, you really don't understand what you see. Life is very hard most of the time for most of we. Life is hard no matter how hard we work. And plenty people can't get no work at all, no matter how hard them try. So we give independent a chance because the hard life have to change. Governor, Mr. Manley love Jamaica and him will work hard with him cousin Buster and plenty more people will help Jamaica to grow. You are right, my dear. Of course, you are right. Oh dear. Goodbye then, my dear. Goodbye. I'll just call for my car. Goodbye, Governor. But before you call for your car, sir, you see what I mean? You work, show you all the problem then. You even try to solve some of them. And you even talk to people like me. But by tomorrow, you just gone on a jet plane. I know that feel lot is different from feel lot. But it's one last favor I'm going to ask you, sir. In truth, it's the only favor I'll ever ask you. You see, when you leave Jamaica and reach back to England, don't just write about Jamaica in a book and put it down. Tell the Queen and the politician them in England about the hard life that most of the Queen's subject them in Jamaica live. Defend we and ask the politician them over there for help we out here, for work out the independence plan, for develop Jamaica. Ask them for me, sir. Because even if me go up to England to live, me not gonna meet those kind of people. But you know what is true, Governor? When you're talking to the Queen and the politician them, don't use phrase like hard life to them about the condition in Jamaica. Tell them that the cost of living is very high. The Queen herself and the politician them will understand that. Anyway, sir, I'm glad to change thoughts with you. God bless you, sir. God bless you. And walk good. Walk good, sir. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. And God bless you too. Say, driver, driver, where in blazes? Has he gone to the dance then? As possibility thinkers. Regardless of her hope for everyone around her though, some residents may still see life in Grandspen and in other areas as a grey blur, undifferentiated from the present, the past, or the future. If you find yourself in such a blur, I call you out of it. I call you to hope. Jamaica is 60 years old. I call you to hope. I invite you to look again deeply to the joyful place that Jamaica is. I call you to look from whence we have come and to where we are headed. The journey into the interior of yourself is necessary, much like the touring of a garden, and it may well help you to recognize your own beauty and your own strength, and the strength and beauty of those around you, and the strength and beauty of your community. Because regardless of the problems that you might be facing, there is strength and beauty all around us. I call you to desist from seeing yourselves through a glass darkly. Look at the brightness. I am lifting with you the hem to look at a brighter Jamaica. And I want you to look at your own stories of hope. And even when you cannot see the stories of hope, I am here to tell you that a life without hope is not a life. And we are alive, so we have to call upon hope. There are so many different types of hope. I call upon you today to hold on to the Christian hope. Hold on to all the forms of hope which are good and uplifting. But I call upon you to hold on to the Christian hope, which teaches us that there is hope inside of us. There's a kingdom of God inside of us. There's an image of God inside of us. And God has made this beautiful and wonderful world for us to live. Christians, I call upon you to share a story of hope, a story of life-giving hope to those around you. I call you to strengthen your Christian witness so that those around you will see the beauty of Jesus and will understand that Jamaica, regardless of what we are seeing today, Jamaica is a Christian nation. That is who we are. We are a Christian nation, and we know of the existence and the goodness of God. I'm calling you to hold on to the hope that is within us. Jamaicans wide and far, love, blessings, and hope to you in this our 60th year.